Hey guys, how you doing? Um, Often get asked what motivates me to keep pushing myself and I mean I'm not superhuman like Cam Haines or any of those guys, but yeah, I try and find a balance between pushing myself hard and trying to not break my body again after learning to walk and stuff like that. So I have a little bit of self-preservation there, but in my childhood, like my dad was in the military and stuff like this, and since I was very young, he'd get me up early in the morning, going running on the beach almost regardless of the weather, and he would do that every morning, and then in winter we'd be out duck hunting at like 4 in the morning and stuff like that, freezing cold, rain, whatever. And despite the fact that he was, an alcoholic and abusive and all that sort of stuff, and I mean, especially during, I'm guessing, like 7 to 15. He died when I was 15, so I was just terrified of the guy, and I was like, like one day he's going to kill me. One day he's going to try and kill me. And when Mum separated from him when I was 12, then him being an alcoholic guy with access to guns and stuff like that, the police came to us and said, like, we're really worried. He's very unstable. He's got access to weapons. He's trained. And like I was in like hyper ninja mode training non-stop, sleeping on my desk all day. I'd be up at the crack of dawn training. I'd be training all night, making weapons, carrying weapons, just waiting for the day when Dad was going to come and kill me and my family. And I was young. I mean, I'm 12 years old at that stage, and so feeling like since the age of, I guess, like 7, that like today might be the day, tomorrow might be the day that I have to go to war with your dad. I was bullied at school a lot, so like school felt like a battlefield all the time. And I've just always grown up with this mentality that you have to be ready for war. That like maybe not a world war, maybe not going to war, but whether it's every day there's the possibility somebody's going to want to fight you, and you've got to be ready. You have to be. You might not be 100%. I'm definitely not 100%, but like I run my ass off a couple of days a week, and like it's that mentality that like yeah, it's going to happen. One day it's going to happen. Doing a lot of security work, it happened all the time, every day. It was pretty predictable. We would fight all night, sleep till like 10 in the morning, train all during the middle of the day, have a nap, go to work, be fighting most of the night, and just do that for years on end. And so now it's still a mentality, which is that I can't be complacent. I don't, it's not about being tapped on the mat and stuff like that. I get tapped all the time. I couldn't care less about that because that's not a fight. And like for example, a lot of jiu-jitsu guys will have like fight team on their gis and stuff like that, and I won't let that on our logos and stuff like that, because it's not a fight. It's just a competition. There's rules, and there's you're not even punching and kicking and headbutting each other and stuff. So like I've got a different attitude towards what a fight is, and I think that softening the word just softens people. I think they have to realize that there's a big difference between being an athlete and being a fighter, and soldiers will attest to this for sure. So being brought up with that soldier mentality, I personally stayed away from the military. I saw what it did to my dad. I know how obsessive I can be, and I'm like, I know what PTSD looks like. I didn't want to have anything to do with that. I've got quite a few friends in the military at very, pretty high levels, SF guys, operators and stuff. They're all affected by PTSD. On social media, I follow Jocko and Tim Kennedy and a bunch of these guys, and yeah, it's just something that I knew that if I got into, I would, I know what I would be like. It was bad enough just going to the martial arts really seriously, and if I got a silver medal, I would dump my bag outside the stadium. It'd be at night, we'd finish it, I don't know, 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night or something. And if I got a silver medal, I just dump my bag in a bush, and I'd just run laps, you know, for hours and hours and hours and hours until I literally couldn't walk. You know, sometimes I'd have to catch the tram home because I literally couldn't walk. I was absolutely wrecked. And that's my mentality. And a very good friend of mine, Rodrigo Antunes, will testify. He's like a 5th degree black belt now, and I'm sure he won't mind me telling the story. He got a bronze at the Worlds. You know, he was a good friend of mine and a mentor. You know, much higher grade than me, but we had a close friendship. And you know, he sent me a picture of him with a bronze at the Worlds, and I mean, it was done with love. I'll have to say that. You know, I love the guy; he's great. But I'm like, are you not embarrassed by that? Like, what do you? Did you not don't put this on social media? Are you not embarrassed by this? You know, like, you've got to get a gold. Like, don't send me pictures of bronze medals. Like, that's embarrassing. The next year he got a silver medal, and that's where I coined the term silver is for cutlery, because that's what I said. I go, silver's for cutlery. I go, don't even send me photos of silver medals. Like, that's nothing. The next year he got gold, and then I was like, okay, that's good. But did you submit everybody, or did you win by points like a pussy? Right? and like, you know, there's probably not a lot of people that have that kind of relationship, but he knows that I love him very much, and that it's with love that I say these things, you know. And if I have a student, a friend, a colleague who really shows the desire to want to win, to be the very, very best, then don't expect bubble wrap and hugs from me, you know. Sometimes, sure, it's good to be empathic, but you've got to have ridiculously high standards, and you have to see failure as like, it's not an option. You're going to win. You got to keep grinding. You got to do more. You know, gold is the only way forwards, and that has to be your mentality to operate at that level. And now he's a professional fighter and wins a lot of stuff, and, you know, stuff like that. Anyway, so that's my mindset. That's what motivates me. Is I don't like losing. I don't like the feeling. Whether it's a jiu-jitsu tournament, whether it's a real fight, you know, like, I just prepare and train every day like there's going to be a fight tomorrow, like there's going to be a war tomorrow, you know. And the way that the world is going, it's quite a possibility at the moment. There's a lot of wars going on around, and so, like, that's just my mentality. Like, if something happened next week, I'm ready, you know. Like, I'm fit enough. I'm reasonably strong. I can handle myself. I'm comfortable in the forest, you know. And that might sound a little bit, I haven't got food stacked up at home or anything like that, you know. I'm not like that. But for me personally, I need to know that my body can handle an emergency, you know. Whether it could be I'm out hiking with my wife, and there's some emergency. We find somebody, and it has happened, you know. We find somebody on the track who's injured themselves badly, you know, and I have to run for help. Or, you know, I could be out trail building in, you know, middle of nowhere, you know, and something happens and we have to getting chased by forest fire. That happened a few years ago, you know, and we had to, you know, get out of the forest pretty quick. So, like, it's being prepared for emergencies, and I think most people are just lazy and just think that their life is just cruisy and it's going to stay that way. Life's really predictable. They get kind of fat and comfortable. They sit on the sofa. They got a nice 9-to-5 job, make $100,000 a year. They got some kids. You know, kids can be annoying, whatever. But the life is really predictable and it's just soft. Yeah. And those people need a big fucking kick in the ass, I tell you what, because they're going to get a wake-up call. And those guys, when they start jiu-jitsu, like, that is a big wake-up call for them, you know. And you don't even have to say anything to them most of the time, you know, because guys, for the most part, I can't talk about what it's like being a chick because I'm not one, but being a guy and starting jiu-jitsu and losing feels awful. I mean, for me, I was a professional athlete coming into jiu-jitsu, and of course, like, you know, it devastated me, you know, and then I just dedicated like 8-9 hours a day every single day to it because I hated that feeling. But then there's always someone above you that's going to make you feel that way, so you just have to keep training harder and work harder. But for the new guys coming in, what will happen is, like, if they're a little bit overweight, unfit and stuff like that, they'll start to, you don't even have to say anything, start to want to make changes. Losing hurts, and they're like, I don't like this feeling, and the next time they go to eat a fucking whole bowl of ice cream or something, they'll be like, shit, this is why I'm losing. And they'll start making small little decisions on a daily basis. You know, they might start jogging a little bit, they might start doing a couple of sit-ups and push-ups at home, but gradually, like, they're going to work themselves towards the goal of winning, because hurting, you know, hurts so much to our ego, you know. And it should, like, if you're fat and overweight and unfit and stuff like that, well, that is a big wake-up call, you know, because, like, who says that, you know, like, some guy doesn't crash into your car by accident, even a minor accident, and the two of you have to get out and exchange insurance details, and the guy's like angry and fucking takes a swing at you because he's uninsured. Like, it can happen like that. It can happen any day, anytime. And so when I started jiu-jitsu and the whole Gracie mentality of, like, anyone, anytime, anywhere, like, that was just like ringing a bell for me. And I'm like, hell yes, like, that's me, I've got to be on, you know. And as a white belt, I went to my hometown and I'd challenge karate schools and judo schools and kung fu schools, and it's just like I've been training for 6 months, maybe even less, you know, and it's just like I had the superpower, you know. I mean, I was arrogant, I was like 100 kilo bloody ex-pro athlete, I was super fit, super strong, big striking background, bit of judo, and now I had some jiu-jitsu, and, you know, like, hence why I was training for the UFC, right? But yeah, I just think that you have to realize, like, where you actually are. If you're, you know, I mean, if you're kind of anxious, you're going to want to do stuff anyway, and if you're kind of depressed, then doing something is going to, like, drag you out of that for sure. But I think if you're the typical guy who's got the 9-to-5 job and you're a bit overweight and a bit unmotivated and stuff like that, think about, like, how your family's going to feel. You know, someone breaks into your house, and what are you going to do about it? Yeah, they don't even have to break into your house. Like, it could happen at the movies. Yeah, I went to the movies one night, and a guy tried to stab me through the window of my car, you know. So, and I don't go looking for this stuff, right? But it's like, it can happen. It can happen anywhere, anytime. And you think because it hasn't, that it's not going to. Well, I hope that you survive whatever it is that happens to you, because, like, that's going to be a big wake-up call for you. Anyway, so that's a little bit about what motivates me, and I feel a huge obligation to my students. I don't have to be better than all of them. Sure, at the moment I am, because, like, they're all white belts and blue belts and stuff, but, you know, I mean, I would find it an honor if my students start kicking my butt, and they will one day, you know, and it's great having them behind me, like, nipping at my heels, because, again, that's just another motivating force for me to go, right, I've got to stay on it. I have to keep working here. I can't get lazy. I can't get complacent. They're nipping at my heels, that constant reminder every day in the gym, the position that I hold as the head of the academy. And even, you know, down the track when I hire other coaches and maybe step away from coaching, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, you know, I love teaching, so I'll probably do it forever. Yeah, I always feel that obligation to my students. I feel an obligation to my partner, you know, because she's not going to be able to protect herself if something happens, you know. And Hoyler Gracie was really big on that, you know. We trained together for years, and you know, I remember him saying to one of the big black belts, you know, from Australia, you know, like, I won't name names, but he's like, well, why do you train? And he goes, to protect my family, you know. And the guy was good at jiu-jitsu, but I wouldn't say that he was a fighter, you know. And I think Hoyler could kind of sense that, you know. So I think that it's an obligation that every guy has to protect his family, and I think that whatever it is, I think like look inside yourself, and I think prey on your fears and insecurities and really dig into them a bit, and try and find that sore spot. For me, it's that idea of losing. Whether it comes from my dad dominating me and intimidating me when I was young, being picked on at school and stuff like that. I mean, when I was at school, I could defend myself, so that wasn't a biggie. It was just annoying. I just wanted to keep myself to myself, do my own thing. I'd be training 5, 6, 7 hours a day when I was at school. I was tired a lot, so I was probably a bit cranky, but I just sat at the back of the class. I don't want to know about anybody else. I couldn't care less. I was just on my own little journey, and standing out at school like that and being quiet, keeping to myself. Like, a lot of people saw me as, well, the bullies saw me as a target, right? Because I looked like a target, but I wasn't, and they found out pretty soon not to pick on me because I'd smash them, And then everyone was shocked because I was like this little kid at school, real quiet, socks pulled up, top button, just do the right thing, sit in the corner, be quiet. That was me. And they were shocked, because when it's just like a switch, right? Is that when you have to hit the switch, you can hit the switch, and then you just turn the switch off straight away and you're back to being normal again. And I remember it shocked a lot of my schoolmates, because and the teachers, because the teacher come in one day and this guy's there all covered in blood and stuff, and the teacher's like, what happened? I was already in the class sitting by myself, hiding my knuckles, and when the school kids told the teacher, I think it was science, biology. Anyway, so he comes in and he came up, and a lot of people were in class. He goes, what happened? And they're like, Rob smashed such and such. And this was the school bully, it's like twice my size, picked on everybody. And so the teacher was like, what? Rob did that? And they're like, yeah, he smashed him. And then the teacher came over to me, and I had my hands under the table, hiding them because they're all bloodied up, And I was almost in tears. I don't like having to do that. Like, it doesn't make you feel good. I mean, later on you kind of have a sense of pride, like I was able to look after myself, and that feels good. But I don't, like, I was a pacifist, especially like being in such a violent, volatile household. I didn't like violence. I still don't. I stay away from it. If I see something going down, unless it's like a guy picking on his wife or something like that, if it's a couple of guys similar size, I'm staying out of it. I'm not getting involved in it. It's, you don't know, you're going to pull out a knife and stab you and stuff like that. So I just stay out of it. But if it's unavoidable and someone does something to me, then then I'll hit the switch, and then I'll just turn the switch off, and it's back to normal again. So it's very, very confidence inspiring to know that you have that inside you. But you're only going to be as effective as your knowledge and training. And if you get fat and lazy and sit on your ass as a black belt or high level black belt or whatever you are, and you think, I see it all the time, and so I'm like, nah, that's just not me, like, I'll be as fit and as not super strong. I don't do a lot of weights. I don't try and lift heavy weights. I can't, but I want to be able to survive. That's my thing. I need to be able to, like, run away. I need to be able to fight. I need to be able to defend myself. If there's an emergency, I need to be able to deal with it, whether it's deal with myself, deal with another person, deal with multiple people. That's what motivates me, is that I don't want to be a weak link, and I enjoy the pressure. There's no pressure put on me by my students to be a particular way, but I feel an obligation inside myself to be the best that I can possibly be, and to be a good role model in terms of, I'll have a couple of beers and eat some pizza and just be a normal person. But, and it's difficult for me to relax and chill out like that. But I find that it's an important part of, like, if you're going to train hard, you can't go 10 tenths all the time. You can't. And especially as you age, you have to be smart. So I'll allow myself the opportunity to be able to sit down, have a couple of beers with the guys like the UFC yesterday, eat a pizza, whatever, and then this morning, up at 4 o'clock, back and do it again, So anyway, that's a little bit of an insight as to what motivates me. if you're struggling to motivate yourself, then I would suggest digging into your insecurities and use that as a little catapult to push you forward. Anyway, I'm cooling down. I'm halfway through my run. I gotta go. Have a great day, guys. Bye.